My name is Simona Cotin, and today I'm super excited to share with you how to set up CircleCI to run your Angular builds and tests in an automated manner. So the first thing that we're going to do is navigate to circleci.com and create a new account. So on this page you will see the sign up button, and let's just go ahead and click that. And there's a few options that you have for creating a CircleCI account. And the first one is sign up with GitHub or sign up with Bitbucket. And you can also sign up with Google, which will allow you to explore some of the sample projects with CircleCI. Since I've already signed up with GitHub, you will see that I'll be immediately redirected to my builds page. But what will happen when you click sign up and you haven't created an account prior to that, you will actually be asked for permissions to access your repositories and your code and your issues and your webhooks. And that's the reason why I've created the CircleCI GitHub account, which I'm basically using only for building builds with CircleCI, because I didn't want to give access to all my repositories. I just wanted to give it a try, right? Okay, cool. So as you can see here, I've already ran a few builds with CircleCI, but let's just step back for a second and make sure that we have a project. I'm gonna go ahead and run ng-new CircleCI, let's say. And this will create a new CircleCI project. And I'm going to go ahead and create a new GitHub repository. So I've created this small script called git create, which basically posts a new repository to the GitHub API using curl. So let's go ahead and create this new repository. It's going to ask for my password, so I'm going to enter that. And here we can see a JSON with some of the properties of our repository, but I'm just going to copy this SSH URL. And our project has finished installing, so let's cd into that. And let's initialize a new repository. And let's see if there's anything that we need to commit. No. So let's go ahead and add remote, add origin, and I'm gonna paste here the SSH link, but I'm gonna edit this URL to include the host that I've specified for my second GitHub URL. Okay, so now let's push this project. Cool, so if we go to my GitHub page, we should be able, on repositories, we should be able to see the CircleCI repo. And it's there, cool. So back to the CircleCI dashboard, the next step is to add the project that we've just created to the list of projects that CircleCI will build. And we can do that from the dashboard on the projects tab. We can click add project, and here you're going to see all the projects that I have on GitHub. And I'm going to refresh this page so that it takes the latest projects, and I'm going to click. You can see that now CircleCI is on this list, and I'm going to click setup project. And there's a few options here that we can configure. The first one is the operating system. So we can either set up CircleCI to run on Mac OS or Linux. And Mac OS only runs on CircleCI 1.0, whereas Linux runs on both versions of CircleCI. So I'm going to choose Linux, and I'm going to stick to the latest version of CircleCI, which is 2.0, because that should be faster. And then I can choose my language. And as you can see, there's a few languages supported on CircleCI, like Go and Java, Java, and Node and PHP. And I'm gonna choose Node because I love Node. And then there's a few steps that we should take here. So the first one is create a folder named CircleCI and add a config.yaml file. So I'm going to copy this sample to my clipboard and then go back to my project, open code. I'm going to create this new folder called CircleCI. I'm going to add the config file, config.yaml, and I'm going to paste in here the config that we've just copied from the CircleCI dashboard. And there's a few items here that are important. So as we've mentioned earlier, the version of CircleCI that we're using is version number 2, and CircleCI runs a list of jobs. And the only required job is the build job. So this is basically the entry point for CircleCI, and it functions like the main method in a Java class, in a Java application. And our build job has a few attributes as well. And the first thing that we need to configure is where is our job going to run. And there's two options. You can either run your job on a physical machine, on a real machine, or you can run it on a Docker, in a Docker instance. And for the purpose of this example, I'm going to use Docker because the physical machine, even though it gives you more access, it doesn't really start as quick as Docker. So you'll have to wait between 30 seconds and 1 minute for your machine to start. So with Docker, CircleCI already comes with a few pre-configured instances, images, and I'm gonna use Node.6, and I'm gonna make sure that we have browsers installed. And then what follows is a list of steps, and the first one is checking out our code, and then we get to restore cache. And so what follows is a list of steps that CircleCI will execute. And the first one is checking out our code because we want to run our tests and our builds against our code. And here CircleCI is going to check out our code from GitHub. And then we can also cache our node modules because we want to save time and we don't want to install our npm dependencies every single time we're running the build. So we're building here a cache based on the package.json file, and then we are installing all the dependencies, and finally we run our tests. But before running tests, I want to make sure that we are building for production, and we do that using the Angular CLI. So we run ng build with the prod flag, and then we also want to optimize our build, and we don't want to show any progress because that will just pollute our logs. And we want to run our tests with the Angular CLI as well. And we should pass the single run flag because we want our tests to run only once. And then we don't want to show any progress either. And that should be everything. So let's go ahead and commit these changes. So I've created this alias getCA, which basically adds all the untracked files and commits them to GitHub. And let's say add CircleCI config. Okay, and let's push this. And once this is done, let's go back to our CircleCI dashboard. And we can start building our project. And this will take us to a different page on our dashboard, which will give us some information about our current build. And on the top line, we will see details like the name of our project, the branch that we're running the build for, and the number, the build number. You can also see the CircleCI version that our build is running on, as well as you have the option to cancel your build or just rebuild everything. And then on the second line, you can see the status of your build, and in our case it's running. You can see when the build has started, and for us it's 43 seconds ago. And there's also an estimated field which tells us how much the build will take based on previous history. But since this is our first build, this is actually 0. And one of the key features of CircleCI is the parallelism. So it allows you to run tests in parallel, and you can see how many containers you're using by just clicking this link here. We are only using one because our project is quite simple, and we only have 3 tests, so there's no need to run more instances. And then we can also see what kind of resources are allocated for our build. And then when we're scrolling down, we can actually recognize some of the steps that we've defined earlier. So the first thing is spinning up the environment. And here we are basically starting the container, which we've defined in our config. And then checking out the code takes like only 3 seconds, and we're basically just checking out the code from GitHub. Because this is our first run, there is actually no cache for us to restore from, and we are installing our npm dependencies, saving the cache and uploading it to the cache archive, and then running our build, and this will generate the production files, and finally running our tests, and this will run like the 3 tests that we have for this project. And as you can see, the status of our project has been updated to success because our build has finished successfully, which is pretty cool, right? So these are the only steps required to set up CircleCI to run automated build and tests for your Angular project. And in the next episode, I'm going to show you how to set up CircleCI to deploy your project to Azure App Service. So stay tuned.